Let me tell you something. You're gonna be fine. I know things feel shaky right now. With the tariffs, costs going up, growth seems harder, there's a lot of uncertainty. But you're gonna be fine. I work with enough brands, in good times and in bad, to know one thing for sure. Some brands don't just survive during bad times, but they thrive, they double, triple, even quadruple during these times. What feels like a threat right now, this uncertainty, might be the very thing that sets you up to become the market leader in your category. That's why I can confidently say, you're gonna be fine. In the last 5 years, I've generated over $40 million in email revenue for e-commerce brands. Not by chasing trends, not with AI-generated emails, but by using strategies that compel people to buy, even when the conditions aren't ideal. I haven't gone through a full-blown recession with a client yet, but I've helped brands navigate real threats. Facebook ad traffic collapsing overnight, products getting copied and prices undercut, influencer channels drying up, ad costs spiking for no clear reason, and cash getting tight really fast. And what I've learned is this: the businesses that survive and thrive all have one thing in common. They are the ones with clarity. Clarity in how they position themselves. Clarity in what to cut and what to double down on. Clarity in how to keep their customers coming back when everything else slows down. So in this video, I'm breaking down 7 questions every e-commerce brand should ask themselves now. Because whether the next 12 months are smooth or brutal, the brands that think through this now will be in a far better position not only to survive, but to outlast, outperform, and own their categories. And that's what I want for you. For those new to the channel, I'm Matt Pirelli, founder of Email Engineers, my agency where we help the most ambitious e-commerce brands scale their email marketing sales without discounting. And so with the stock market looking like a red light therapy panel, I sat down and asked myself, if I were running an e-commerce brand today, like my clients, what will I ask myself? What will I be thinking about? And so here are 7 questions that I think every founder, operator, CMO should ask themselves now, to not just survive, but to thrive over the next 12 months and crush it. And the first question is this: is my brand and products nice to have or must have in the eyes of my customer? This is the first domino, because if your product or your brand is in this nice to have category, when customers start cutting back their spending, you're out. Simple as that. If they perceive your products to be optional to their lives, it's over. They will simply stop spending money there. But there's some nuance. I said if they perceive your products to be optional or nice to have. Because here's the thing, your product doesn't need to be functionally essential. It only needs to be perceived like one. They only need to feel like they can't live without it. That is the difference. And so that is liberating in a way, because that's now a marketing problem, a positioning problem, a narrative problem. Now we are in control. That's the beauty of it. Now, because I'm an email marketing guy, we help clients with this. So let me show you what is, in my opinion, one of the most underrated email sequences that can help you do this and position your products as essentials, as must have. That will be the post-purchase flow, the single most underrated flow ever. Because here's the thing, a proper post-purchase flow turns a buyer into a customer. A buyer, someone who just purchased once from you, into someone who feels and perceives they need to keep buying from you over and over and over again, and can't stop doing so. That is what a proper post-purchase sequence does. Because here's what happens, and it's a small nuance. Someone who paid for your products, it's not the same as someone who bought your product. There's people who paid for your products because they had a discount and it was cheap, but they're not really invested in your brand and in your products. On the other hand, there are people who bought into your products. They get your products, what makes them unique and different from all of your competition. This is someone who's going to buy from you over and over again. This person, the payer, want. So proper post-purchase flows get people sold on the products. Also, proper post-purchase sequences create an identity. And when you install this identity into your customers, it becomes impossible for them to shop elsewhere. This is the difference between brands that have a lot of payers who purchase their gummy worms or water or creatine or moisturizers or t-shirts or whatever, and brands that install an identity and get customers really sold into who they want to become. Because that's sticky as hell. That's not going away. The others, those who have a lot of payers, those payers will flock towards the next brand that has the cheapest prices or dangles them the better discount on their faces. But those who can get their customers sold and create and install an identity, they don't have returning customers problems because they have positioned their products as must have. And that is critical. One of the ways we help our clients do this, it's with conviction building. And when you do that, loyalty just follows. And I'm linking a video somewhere now and also in the description that breaks down conviction building and plenty of other strategies. Moving on to the next question, to recession-proof your business. What is our cash runway? Can we last 6, 12, or 18 months without a big revenue growth? And this is simple. Cash is oxygen. You don't want to be in a position this upcoming month where you are running with a half-empty tank, not knowing when the next fill-up is. And here's the thing. Cash flow is not just about cutting spend, because there's only so much you can cut. But it's about maximizing margin. It's about getting full-priced orders, about avoiding discount dependency. It's about turning your subscriber list into a cash printing machine. And the best way that I found to do that is by sending more campaigns, more frequency, more conviction building. Because what normally happens during these times is that the brands who do less marketing, the brands who specifically cut their campaigns by half and send just 1 or 2 campaigns a week, they get dominated by those brands who start sending 4, 5, 6 campaigns per week. Those who stop their email campaigns leave a ton of cash sitting on the table. And that is something brands cannot afford to do during these times. They simply can't. It is not a recession-proof strategy. And so from an email marketing perspective, this is what I always recommend brands. And the same, of course, goes for your flows. Are your email flows, your sequences optimized, or they are just there? What I've seen happens, talking with plenty of 7 and 8-figure CMOs or founders, is that they usually paid an agency to set up their flows, but they haven't updated them in months, sometimes even years, and they are just there. They don't even know if these emails are high converting. They are just there collecting dust. So what I recommend brands do is that they start optimizing their email flows, because the difference between an email that converts at 5% and at 10% is twice the customers. And so during these times where every single brand needs as much cash as possible, they cannot simply afford to be running unoptimized email flows. It's just literally burning money, or worse, losing these potential customers to their competitors. So for those who want to dig deeper into flows or campaigns, the video that's going to be linked in the description is going to break down all of the strategies that we have used to scale flows and campaign sales for multiple clients. Next question. What strategic bets could we make now that competitors are pulling back. So it's known that every downturn or recession creates a blue ocean opportunity. Because some brands just get scared, they cut back on innovations, they freeze, they tighten their budget, stop spending on marketing and advertising, and so their strategy is just simply surviving, right? This means this is your shot to sprint past them. They're just sitting there, cocooning, shivering, you sprint past them so fast, you literally burn them down. That could be you. So this means different things for different brands. I cannot suggest something specific to you, but you most likely have some ideas in your mind already. It could be launching a new hero product, or going all in on YouTube, or it could be improving your packaging, making it like an experience, or using it as a marketing channel. Whatever it might be, this might be the time to do it. Because in 2008, direct-to-consumer mattresses weren't even a thing. By 2012, Casper had dominated the category. They saw the opportunity. They zigged when everyone else was sagging. So this might be your chance to play offense where others are playing defense. And on the email side, we can tie it back to the previous adding, sending more campaigns, tightening up your email flow. Next question to recession-proof your brand. What will I do differently if I knew this recession will last 24 months? Because here's the thing, you have to balance two scenarios. On one hand, nothing happens, there's no recession, everything is exactly as it was. Cool. I'm betting on this, by the way. But on the other hand, let's assume this lasts 2 years. What will you do differently? Will you cut back on your unprofitable ad spend, for example? Will you still let your team waste 3 hours a day on unneeded meetings? And on the email side of things, will you start finally tracking revenue per recipient, the only metric that really matters, or just keep focusing on opens or clicks or even broad sales? Because this tells you the truth. This lets you compare exactly how you're doing against your competitors. Are you extracting more revenue from your list than your competitors? Are you being more efficient? Are you being better at email than your competitors and so extracting more cash from your email list? Because if you are, you have an edge. You have an advantage over them. Because look, if you go inside Klaviyo, then into analytics, benchmarks, and then you click on campaigns, you will see exactly how good or how bad you're doing compared to your competition. So Klaviyo gives you a rating for your email metrics such as bounce rate, click rates, conversion rates, open rates, and revenue per recipient. Now, here's the thing. Most brands are just focusing on open rates or click rates, but that just tells half the picture. What we really care about is how much revenue we are extracting from our email list. And that is revenue per recipient. And that is the whole email marketing game. It is not about getting your open rate higher, which is fine, but it's half the picture. It is not even about increasing your click rates, although that is closer, or about increasing your conversion rates, but we're getting warmer. It's about your revenue per recipient, which can be calculated as conversion rates time average order value. So there are some brands that have an excellent rating according to Klaviyo. And these brands, like this is one of our clients that we're managing their Klaviyo account, they are generating 57 cents per subscriber. While the average brand, this column, this is the median of their peers, of our clients' peers, their competitors, they are generating just 16 cents per subscriber. This means that given the same list size, we are generating 3.5 times more sales from those subscribers. We are being more efficient. We are being better at email. So we have an edge over these guys right here, because all of this is extra cash for this brand, for our client. And so if you knew that this was a recession that could last 2 years, I will recommend you start focusing on what matters. And I have a video that shows exactly how to improve revenue per recipient. It's the same video that I mentioned before that is going to be linked in the description. Moving on to the next question, to recession-proof your eCom brand. Ask yourself, what will make someone choose us over a cheaper alternative? Because that is exactly what is going to be on customers' minds now. Because when people start being price conscious is when your perceived value gets actually tested. It's during these slow times, during these bad times when you see any flaws in your marketing strategies. Not when people are just throwing money away, but when they are not doing so. And so there are brands who might answer to this, well, we are higher quality, we are better, we are faster. And that is exactly how every other brand answers this. And here's the thing, they are supposed to answer this way. If a brand doesn't answer, well, we are better, we have better products, then they wouldn't be in business in the first place. So that is just a given. Any customer takes that for granted. So now what we have to do is go beyond that. We have to really start building an emotional case for pricing. This is what luxury brands do. They get away with charging higher prices because all of these purchases are emotional purchases. And so they're not analyzed at a logical level inside the brain. It's just, I want to feel better, so I purchased it. So if you can create an emotional case for your product, you have an edge. If you can create desire for your products, you also have an edge. If you can get customers to truly imagine their future self with your products, you have an edge because you're playing on an emotional field. Same here when you create desire. This is what we help our clients do with email marketing. We don't just say, hey, buy our products, they are cool, they're the best, and they're cheap. Here's a discount, go buy it. Now, we first get customers really invested into the product so they cannot think of a day that they don't have these products. We get customers emotionally invested into the products that our clients sell so they cannot picture their lives without it. We create desire. So if this is not your first time watching my videos, you probably saw other videos where I break down a 1,000 words long welcome email. And so you know already how an email can help do this, create an emotional case, create desire, and get people imagining their lives with your products. And in case you haven't watched it, it's included in the video that I've been mentioning that's gonna be in the description. But the thing to remember here is that the answer to this question cannot be a logical answer. Simply can't, because if you're playing at a logical level, you don't have this edge, this premium pricing edge that some brands have. And so another brand can come and simply copy your products, make them slightly better, and steal all of your customers. This is why we have to play at an emotional level, because if not, we don't have any pricing power. And during a recession or during bad times, we need as much pricing power as possible, because that's where the cash is. And so if we have this pricing power, meaning we can charge this over our competitors, if things go wrong, we can still cut that back a little, but we still have this much power, this much extra cash over our competition. And this is the same cash that allows us to reinvest back into marketing profitably, if you're following these strategies, and dominate the competition. So again, this is all about making sure that your customers actually get your products. And we briefly talked about that here. When we talk about post-purchase flows, this helps with this. Next question I will ask myself if I wanted to recession-proof my business. Can we deliver more value without just cutting prices? Because if we can, when customers are comparing two options, we will have more perceived value and we will win the sale. So when I say value, and I recorded a whole video talking about this, but this doesn't mean giving away free PDFs or guides or things like that. Because again, value is not what they get, but what they perceive to get. So I see supplement brands make this mistake way too often. They use a free PDF, a free muscle building guide, as a magnet, as a way to attract new subscribers, for example. But the problem is that this has no perceived value in customers' eyes, unless it's made by an influencer that people actually look after, or an expert that people actually look after, and they know who they are. This has zero perceived value, specifically now when information is becoming more commoditized. So rather than just subscribing to receive this guide, they will go into YouTube and get it from one of their favorite influencers. So value is not giving away free stuff, free info, unless it has actual perceived value. So here are two ways to actually deliver more value for your customers without having to spend more money. First, we have delivering the results that we promised. So in the example of a supplement brand, this is very straightforward. Are we delivering the results we promised with our pre-workout, for example? But here's the thing. I've been talking about perceived value because you're probably familiar with the concept of placebo or the placebo effect. So this is a funny thing. With supplements, half of the value, half of the results that they get come from the actual ingredients. Do they work or not? The other half come from their perception of the potential results they can expect to get. That is what some people call the placebo effect. And it has been proven to be as effective as the actual drug. There have been plenty of studies in which the placebo, a fake sugar pill, is as powerful as the actual supplement or pill or drug. So during these times, for example, for supplement brands who don't want to spend more money into their formulations, into their products, what they can do is do this other 50% and increase the perceived value of their products. So this will be hyping people up. One of the way we do this, not only with supplement brands, this works with any type of product that deliver a result. For example, one of our clients is a beauty brand and they sell anti-aging products. So what we do with customers who already purchased the product is to get them sold on the results that they're going to get, creating a vision on how good the product is going to do for them, and on all of the benefits that these women are going to get. And we tell stories and we get emotional because that is how you actually sell an idea, not to the logical part of the brain, but to the emotional part of the brain. And so because the perceived value of the product increases, they will be more happy with it. They will be more likely to get positive results from it. They will be more likely to recommend the products to their friends, and they're more likely to return and continue buying from us over and over again. So that is one way in which we're helping clients increase their perceived value. And this also works for other type of brands. Let's say besides supplements, skincare, products of that sort. If you sell, for example, a technology product, it could be about creating hype or creating a vision about how good the product is going to work for them, how it's going to change their lives. So they get emotionally invested into the product, and they're more likely to use it the way it is meant to be used. They're more likely to go through the entire process of setting up the product, reading the instruction manuals, whatever it might be. This is just an example. And the same will go, for example, for a clothing brand. Could be featured in different outfits that they can combine with their products and so on. All of that is to say, there are ways to deliver more value so you win the sale, you have more pricing power over your competitors. And without having to compete on pricing, so you're not killing your margins, you're not killing your cash. And the second way we help clients create more value, more perceived value, although this is one is not for free, is through postcard marketing. We have some clients running some postcard sequences in which the ROAS is stupidly high, 135, 380 return on ad spend. And this is tracked with a specific discount code that we're using. And so this is literally printing cash. And these are sequences that are just like email flows, but postcard flows. So actual physical postcards. And because nobody else is doing this, these stand out and we can generate this type of results. So that is something to look into it as well. It just gives you an extra edge on your competitors. You will have more cash that they don't have. It will also help you have more cash reserves, which is needed. So I might be actually recording a video soon about this, but in the meantime, you can send me an email if you want a quick lean setup of postcard. And finally, I didn't know whether to include this one or not, because this is more email marketing related, or it was supposed to be. But I included it anyway, because this is going to make a huge difference for those brands who apply it. And the question is, how can I prevent my team from demoralizing? Because here's the thing, fear trickles down. And if you, as the leader, as someone who people look up to inside your business, if you're anxious, your team can feel it. Even if they don't say it, they will feel it. They will sense it in your tone, in your Slack messages, and in your Zoom calls. Here's what happens if they sense that. They will start looking elsewhere. They will start polishing up their resume. They will have 1 foot out of the door. They will keep a LinkedIn tab open at all times. They will start second guessing where to stay with you or not. So the number one goal for all of us who are running businesses during a potential recession, but during any bad times, right? The number one goal for us should be to first steady the ship. Not just say, but convey the feeling that everything's gonna be fine. Just be calm. Even if you don't feel that way, that is the perception you should convey to your team. Second, show them the plan. Show them that you have a plan, that it's gonna be okay because you have a plan. This is now appealing to the logical part of the brain. First, you appeal to the emotional part. Don't worry, we have this big vision and we have amazing customers. And here's what we are doing now to cement that positioning and become the market leader. Here's the step, So that means backing it up with logic and numbers. So people can actually eat it, right? They can buy into it. Then another thing that is important during this time is creating wins, even small ones. So it could be a new product launch that you crush it, or small things, a new product variant that crushes it, or just a new campaign or a new angle that is working fine, a new funnel, a new advertorial that is working better than other ads that opens up a new opportunity. It could be anything, but the important thing is to create these wins and then make them public, celebrate them, even if it's just a small Slack message. That is step 5, celebrate progress. Because we have to reinforce this idea that everything is going to be okay. Because calm is contagious. So if you live like everything is going to be okay, everything is going to be okay. Look, I don't know what the market is going to look like 6 months from now. I don't have a crystal ball. I'm not a financial expert and I don't pretend to be one. I'm just a guy that's really good at email marketing. But I do know this. Even though I'm thinking about a possible recession here and there, that just only occupies like 1% of my mental bandwidth, if that. Because it has been studied and proved over and over again that nearly 70% of the S&P 500 brands, the biggest brands in the world, were started during an economic downturn. So the brands that move fast, are not scared, that double down and that play on an emotional level during these times, they are the ones that dominate. They are the ones that become market leaders forever. They earn the market loyalty, they scale profitably, and they come out the other side unstoppable. So why can that be you? So here are the questions. Feel free to take a screenshot now. Now, I've been talking about a video with strategies, right? If you want to learn exactly how to recession-proof your business with email marketing, I want you to watch this video next. It's called the 33 Immutable Laws of Email Marketing. And in this video, I reveal everything that I've learned during these 5 years of doing email marketing, generated over $40 million for clients, sent thousands of campaigns, and run hundreds and hundreds of A/B tests. I reveal every strategy, and trust me, these are not the best practices that you will find in a blog post or a guru course. If anything, these are the opposite of best practices, worst practices. But that is why they work so well. They let us double, triple, sometimes even quadruple clients' email sales. And most importantly, profit. So if you want to scale your email marketing sales and turn email into a cash generating machine, I recommend that you watch that video next. the 33 immutable laws of email marketing. You could say it took me 5 years to record it, and I think you're gonna enjoy it. I'm Matt Pirelli, and it's been a pleasure having you here today.